Oh, duty. Oh, let's see here. Oh, duty arising, a duty imposed by the law of contracts. Now, for all of those that are employed in the military, there is a contractual duty, in the law of contract, that you get me the enlistment paperwork, yes, of any and all criminal or court records that have been doctored. Yeah. So a police chief could say, well, as long as you go into the military, we'll keep it off your record. Pooch. But the truth of the matter is, right, as soon as, because I'm suing the United States Armed Forces, for every one of them that I found out that you had a duty, yes, a duty imposed by the law of contracts. Yes. See, this application for enlistment in the United States military, it's similar to an application for employment. Let's say I wanted to get a job, and somebody said, well, let me see your state issued ID. And I'd say, well, it's actually been falsified. And then they'd say, well, you're an American citizen. And I'd say, I have a social security number. Yes. And I got it in 1986. Yes. And it says that my parents were married. Ooch. Could you get me the social security records of Paul Douglas Budnick? Yes. And Sandra Lee Taylor? Ooch. Now, let's say that you use that marriage license as the justification to do all kinds of things as an adult. Yes, when you had no legal right to do them. In fact, get me the election. Is it 1970 an election year or was it 72? Because, there's a possibility of registering to vote even though you weren't an adult. Go ahead. Now, I will sue the state of Washington, ooch, for not enforcing what is known as duty imposed by the law of contracts. See, when Phyllis told me that she had a statutory duty, yes, it's within the scope, that's right, of her employment contract, yes, that it is a statutory duty according to her being a licensed psychologist, yeah, and that she was obligated to enforce child abuse laws. Yes, she was. She was obligated to report elder abuse laws. She was. And then she said I was delusional, as if I didn't see there was a what? Why don't you get me the employment of those in the judiciary? Every one of them. For every judge. That's participating in multiple misprisons of treason. Yeah, I will sue you for violating the contractual obligation as a statutory duty to report child abuse. Now, since there is no statute of limitations for child abuse, I would say that issuing a marriage license where it says 18, yeah, it does violate quite a few laws about the purchase of alcohol at 18 years old in Washington state. Yes, because it was 18 then, wasn't it? Yes. The idea of getting a driver's license at 18, yes. Even though you're not required to go through driver's ed, why don't you give me the driver's licenses of Paul Douglas Budnick and Sandra Lee Budnick? Yes. I'd be surprised. Ow! Well, now, it looks like my dad learned how to drive out there on the farm. Yes. Didn't need to take driver's ed once he got that marriage license? No. See, it says he's 18, and probably in 1970, that's all you needed. Get me their driver's licenses, their voting records, their application for Social Security cards. You see, I don't know if he was employed before the age of 18, but since he dropped out of high school to support my biological mother, yes, because she decided she was going to set up house, I'm kind of thinking, why don't you get me the school records from Washington High School in Auburn, Washington, and then find out who Sandra Budnick was? Yes. See, my grandma Budnick got the last name of Budnick because of a marriage. Yes. I don't think she just decided, well, I'm no longer going to be called Sinclair or Holtz. Yes. There was an actual marriage that took place, and Edward Budnick had other children. Now, I had heard about Sandy Budnick. Yes. And I found proof of her yesterday. Yes. And then there was another, I think it was a Mike Budnick. Yes. Now, if she was going to school in 1943 at the Auburn High School, yes, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. I'm thinking that there's some biological relatives that I might want to know. Yes. Now, when I really start digging into things, okay, he's digging into things right now.